Hi everyone, so I wanted to show you a few graphing tips in the graphing calculator and how to actually use this TI-84 to graph equations. So normally you're on the blank screen, but if you want to graph something, that all happens with these buttons up here at the top. So for example, one of the examples we did on solving systems of equations was to graph these two and basically see where they intersect. The calculator can actually do this for you. So to graph an equation, you need to go to this button here, which is y equals, just kind of like this, and that's where you can put in equations. If you ever want to get out of y equals, you can do second quit and get out of there. So there's y equals. You may have something in already, so you'll need to clear that out if that's the case. And if you ever see one of these plots highlighted, that means the plot is on, that's statistics, and we don't want that. So just hit the up button, hit enter, and it'll turn the plot off. Okay, this lets you enter lots of equations. That's why they call it y1 and y2. It's just for different equations. So I could type in y equals negative 5/3. Make sure you use the negative here since it's at the beginning rather than the minus, or you'll get an error. So I'll type negative 5/3 is just 5 divided by 3. And then the X button is right here next to alpha. So type X. And then plus 3. So negative 5/3 X plus 3. When you hit graph, you will see that line graphed for you. If it doesn't look like this regular like 10 to negative 10 screen, what you can do is use the zoom button right here. The zoom button lets you zoom in, zoom out, but the best option is number 6 down here. If you'll scroll down to number 6, zoom standard. It takes you back to the standard screen. So either hit number 6 or hit enter on zoom standard and it'll take you back to this screen. You can also adjust the window here with the window button. You can adjust the X-min, the X-max, the scale, and the Y-min and the Y-max if you want to do it that way instead. But zoom 6 if you ever need the graph to be a little more clear. So when you hit that graph button. Let's go back and put the other equation in too. So go back to y equals, and let's scroll down here, hit down, and we can enter another equation. So this was y equals 1/3. So 1 divided by 3, x, again, x is up here, minus 3. In this case, since the minus is in between some stuff, we'll do minus 3 rather than negative. I know that's kind of weird, but those are different on the TI-84. Okay, go back to graph, and there is your other line. Remember, the goal was to see where they intersect, and so it's kind of hard to see on this graph. Somewhere in here is where they intersect, but it's kind of hard to tell where that is. And so there are a couple things that you can do. The first thing is you can hit trace, which will let you trace along the graph, but that's not always super accurate. Like, I can get pretty close, so it's probably about 3, negative 2, but it's not always super accurate. What you can also do is go to the table. So it'll pull up a table for both equations. So that's right above graph. If you go to second table, this pulls up x and y values and x and y values for the second equation. So let's try to see where they're the same. Notice right here, I've got 3, negative 2 and 3, negative 2. So that is where they intersect. There's one other way you can do this, which is if you go back to the graph, you'll notice right above trace, it has this calc. So if you go to second calc, it allows you to calculate certain things. We could calculate a value, like if I want to know just where it is when x is like 5, it'll tell me what that value is. You can also calculate zeros, so where it hits the x-axis, minimum and maximum points. And if you notice number 5 here calculates the intersection. So either hit number 5 or hit enter on number 5. And it's going to ask for the first curve, which just means the first equation, which it should be on. So hit enter. Next, it will ask for the second curve, the second equation. It should automatically jump to that, so just hit enter again. Next, it's going to ask for a guess, so just kind of scroll over to near where it is and hit guess, and there you have it. Sometimes the calculator is off by like a 0.111, 0.0000 something, so if it's really close to like a 3, it probably means it was going for a 3. But that's it. 3, -2 is the intersection. If you were curious, those last two are calculus. So you can do a whole lot of stuff with these graphing tools up here. I do want to point out you can also do this on Desmos. So let me see if this will work. Okay. So here, oh, where is it? There's Desmos on my phone here. You could also just go to desmos.com. You type in your two equations, there it is, and you can zoom in on the intersection pretty clearly. Remember on Desmos, just like the calculator, in order to get fractions, you just use the division. So 5 divided by 3. And on Desmos, you also have X and Y buttons right here. If you ever need anything else, you've got more functions here, and in miscellaneous, there's some other stuff. So there's quite a bit in there. Okay.